All right. Dr. Gabe in the house. We are now recording. I am so excited to uh, finally dive in to this podcast. Um, basically, social media. First of all, let me introduce. We have with Dr. Racquel Stucky, my friend. Racquel, how we doing?
Hey there, Gabe, or
Oh
Dr.
my
Gabe.
gosh,
Sorry, we're
it's
doing great.
yeah, great to hear from you. So we have been talking about this doing a social media kind of brainstorming, kind of bouncing around. So quite some time. So kicking off. So live going. All right. With further ado, let's dive in. So we're gonna be talking about our theme. We're gonna be talking about culture, um, mentorship, and then ethics. Um, and so yeah, and so here we go. Let's go with culture talk. I feel culture is so important. You must take the time to talk. And
Absolutely.
and Raquel, I just want you to uh, take a step back. Remember, um, if we are uh, talking to the public, because I'm really doing this, I am volunteering for the community, just to kind of educate the people. Uh, that's why I feel compelled to dive in. So, and just kind of keep it in mind, if you will, address, well, I don't want to say like your patients. Um, um, obviously, we will be mindful with HIPAA. So, yeah, just kind of uh, uh, breaking it down. Really kind of we watch the news and it's like, okay, what do we need to broken down? But also like think like teenagers, and then now they are trying to figure out the game. They're learning what is all about. That's really my goal. Okay, so we are now talking about culture. So Raquel, where you from?
I was born in the Bronx, New York City, and lived there for a few years. And
Uh-huh.
then we actually moved abroad to China. I lived there for 5 years. And then we moved back to America, and I lived in Massachusetts and landed up in Maine for high school. And from there, I went to the University of Pennsylvania in Philly and fell in love with Philadelphia and Philly culture.
Ah,
And
yes indeed, love Philly.
yeah, yes, Dr. Gabe and I connected over that, connect, shared history, and then moved out to Kansas City on the Missouri
Uh-huh,
side
uh-huh, uh-huh.
for med school. And then, kind of since then, have been in Kansas.
Yeah, and now you wound up in Kansas, practicing medicine in family medicine, correct?
Yes, so I am in Western Kansas, which is pretty rural, and I practice family medicine with obstetrics.
Yeah, you mentioned Philly, and I'll go with you. Um, so I was born in New Orleans, Louisiana, and I my father was a military brat. I got transferred, and then I wound up in Philly, and then I landed in the suburbs, and then I was in Wilmington, Delaware. That's right on I-95. And then I dug in to LaSalle, uh, LaSalle University, which was a solid school. They taught me accounting, um, and Philly. Oh man, they really do have culture. Like you start to get in the city. Um, I mean, it's always fast paced. But yeah, and then I uh, uh, dove in LaSalle. It helped me get a job, and they hired me at Georgia Pacific, and they moved me, and then I landed Savannah, and then I went for medicine, and I applied for Penn, and then you went to University Pennsylvania, correct?
Yes, for my undergraduate degree.
Right, right, which is Ivy League. Scoff, scoff. Oh, so scoff, scoff. Let me tell you, uh they will make you work. Very uh good school. No doubt. But I had a good experience. So
Yes, I did too. I loved college. It was great.
yeah. So so we talked about uh now we talked about Maine, and then we talked about we're all kind of hitting like Philly, uh, we're all over the place. We're hitting like Kansas. Do you want to give a shout out?
Shout out to Garden City, Kansas, where um, we live, and uh, yeah, where my husband is from. And shout out to my husband, Dr. Brad Stucky. He went to the same med school as we did, and my brothers-in-law also practice family medicine in the same clinic that I do.
Yeah, so I guess I don't we went to we met in medical school, and I never really got to know Kansas, and I got to know Kansas City, Missouri. But forgive my ignorance, Raquel. All I think about like uh Dorothy tornadoes, or cows in cornfield. What what's it like, Kansas? What's it? Can you kind of sum it up?
Well, we certainly have lots of cows and corn. That's not untrue, but the people are not quite, they're not Southerners. The Midwestern people are very kind of easygoing people in general. They work hard, and they are not as angry as East Coasters seem. They usually seem very happy and polite and ready to help out or just have a nice chat. So it's a and there's a lot of people studying agriculture and um, holistic agriculture. There's a lot of people in medicine. There's a lot of rural hospitals that are struggling to find staff. And so there's a lot of opportunity for physicians to still kind of have that cowboy doctor experience where they can do a lot of different aspects of medicine, which is pretty cool for a lot of those docs.
Yeah. 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 Definitely. Thank you for sharing that. All right. Excellent. Uh, Next, let's move on. Let's talk about mentors. Now, uh, we talked about college. Actually, the question was going to be, what college did you graduate? We kind of beat the head of the past, so I'll keep on trucking. But I did mention like shout out to LaSalle. But man, so let's take a time to just kind of man, Philly is really something else. And when you dive into it, you know, you really can just start taking the subway and get to know. Um, they have true grit, I think, to be described. But
Mm-hmm.
I think you certainly learn how to be smart. You have to know how to be safe now, you know, because if it's the hood now, you got to know how to get around. For example, if you're walking in the alley, if there's gatherings, you just don't go that way. It's as simple as that's just really like street sense, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, let's uh, let me quit loving on Philly. So looking back, kind of reflecting, um, as a mentor, what would you advise?
I think it's getting harder and harder to get experience with
Mhm.
physicians because of bigger corporations and HIPAA and all these things. But if you're able to shadow a doctor or see the inner workings of a clinic or anything like that, I had a mentor in college, like when I went back home for the summer, who let me shadow
Okay.
him. Yeah, Dr. Knighton in Freeport, Maine. And that was wonderful, an amazing experience. I got to see how he interacted with patients. I still do a few things that he taught me
Uh-huh.
as far as being patient centered. And it was just very helpful to confirm that that's what I wanted to go do. So before I even, took the MCAT and did all the things, I kind of wanted to make sure, hey, like, does this sound like the right path to go on? So that's really helpful if you can find that. And then I think just getting involved in any way that you can. So I took a year off to actually work as a medical assistant at a clinic in Philadelphia, in North Philly. And that was just a huge learning opportunity for me to really see how doctors worked, how clinics can work, and what MAs and other staff in a clinic can do to help the whole system run smoothly. And so it was just invaluable experience for me to have done that. So that would be some of my advice. Obviously, you have to study hard, but
So
some of the other stuff you can't study.
and kind of this person telling me about who was this character? How did you come about this? You were
He
you got assigned to them?
no, he was a local. I came from a relatively small town,
Mm-hmm.
and he was. I think he ended up being our family doctor. I think we switched over to him, and my mom kind of helped. But I think I just approached him and asked if I could shadow for a few sessions, and that I was interested in going into medical school. I was interested in becoming a DO. He's a DO. Um, so yeah, he was just super willing to do that and very open about that, which is great. But it wasn't assigned through anything. I just kind of a connection that I made in my hometown.
So you kind of hit the nail on the head. So you asked, like you then said you introduce yourself. You said, "Hey, like I'm really super interested. I would really like to learn."
Yes.
Okay. Okay. That's where I was going. Kind of touching on I'm glad that you are kind of bringing up like if you want to be a doctor, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of people are very uh, uh, hungry to dive in. I'm gonna um, tailor this discussion actually. What do you advise um, taking the MCAT?
I am worried my advice is too old. I'm not sure if the state of the MCAT has changed. But in general, for standardized testing, board testing, and medical testing, I recommend doing as many practice tests and problems as you can. A lot of the knowledge is part is figuring out how to access what you know in your mind according to the way that they're asking and the questions that are there. So I took probably 13 practice MCAT tests before I took the real one, and that set me up for success.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, me too. They will try to sell you because they are trying to exploit you, making money. Like, hey, you want to uh take MCAT? Like they would just like, look, we have brand spanking to just basically we're gonna take your money. So
Mm-hmm.
come on, students, you want to take out loans, you want to be a doctor. We're gonna dangle the carrot. Um and Raquel, you know, uh, uh, you're we are pals here. And we always have been friends. We studied at Kansas City University. In fact, we graduated. Um, I am going to have to stop here. And as I was saying, Raquel, I'm going to have to work on my timing. So sometimes I tell you, my aphasia certainly can linger. And so, for those of listening, thank you for your patience, y'all. It's just so if you want to be a doctor, you got to be understanding, So kind of like an old man. uh, but anyway, so we were talking about MCAT. Um, so Raquel, feel free to disagree. And I do kind of uh, challenge you. My opinionated. I'm kind of a horribly opinionated. Um, I certainly run my mouth. That's for sure. Guilty of charge. So I think MCAT. I said they exploit you. I had already. They like give you practice test. You really have to read like a fiend. They want you to be able to read fast. How are you going to do that? Easy. You're really gonna need to turn off the TV. If you like Netflix, uh, just turn off the TV. That's it. Like, go to the library. Like, if you're enjoying going to happy hour, um, you will be looking back. Could've, should've, would've. That is how I learned. You
Mm.
know, I had my fun. You know, of course, when I was in college, once upon a time, I would turn 21 of age. It was time to go uh now have fun. Certainly don't drink or drive. And I look back, you really and I'm not trying to preach it now. I guess this is kind of I am looking back, if you will. This is why I started to do this. I feel like we need to advise students, like they're trying to figure out. Really, like, I think because I had such a blast, it's almost like I sowed my oats, if you will. And it's not like I'm going to have a midlife crisis. Now, maybe that's um different per se. And Raquel, you can always uh I know you can comment Penn, they party pretty hard with fraternity. I don't know how they pull it off.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
but anyway, so I am gonna stay focus on MCAT is very demoralizing. That's what I wanted to portray. You had better be ready to get your butt handed off. If you are just banking like, well, my parents are a doctor, I'm just going to become a doctor. And so it just has to happen. And you just think you just going to get it. People really get demoralized. It will just eat you alive. And then you start to get scared. People live in fear of failure. They have trouble sleeping. Uh, they're like, oh my God, am I gonna fail? What if? What if? What if I don't make it? Um, what if I don't get in? They really start to uh beat themselves up. I really saw it was demoralizing. So uh what say you, Raquel? Any thoughts?
Yes, it's not something you're going to be able to what's the word? Stay up all night and, just wing it.
Right.
But, you know, I I'm I can be outspoken about plenty of things. Some of the things I'm just like, it's a game, you got to play it, just learn the rules and do it, because I don't think I'm going to be able to change the MCATs.
Uh-huh.
But
Uh-huh.
so that's kind of my approach.
Yeah.
just figuring out, well, what is the game they're playing? How do you optimize, like you said, reading? There's tricks you can learn just doing them over and over again. So I just kind of turn it a little bit into a game and try to
Uh-huh.
think of it like that way. And but you definitely have to put in the time. Yeah, I definitely recall, remember putting in the hours of studying when it was gorgeous outside and I wanted to go do something else, but
Yeah.
um, had to put in the
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. So you're really getting into self-care, which is so important. If you're not exercising, not eating right, and it's like, oh, well, that's I don't want to do that. Well, you know what? Stop getting impulsive. Again, like if you want to be a doctor, you got to talk the talk, walk the walk. And then if you are now saying, I can be an adult, well, guess what? It's time to act like that. Now you just got to uh man up. Like if you really want to be a doctor, you have to now basically this is why they raise the gauntlet. That's kind of my message. And it's the MCAT. I struggled. Um, I don't know how I passed. I did. I don't recall my score. Um, uh, I made it. That's for sure. I was, thank goodness. It's basically if you get accepted, it's like you're all right, hot diggity.
All
Let's
right.
let's
Yeah.
let's go freaking learn medicine. Let's go uh uh see how I can help people. you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I love helping people. But that's all I've got, becoming a doctor. But I think when I say if you're getting your butt kicked, um if you suffer in depression, you really have to you don't have fear of failure. Don't be such a macho. Um I'm not afraid. Um and I don't mean to, I'm not trying to like pep talk, okay? I kind of tell it like it is. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what do you think, Raquel? If I'm rambling, you can say, hey, 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 hey. Um, I remember in uh UPenn, the library, the rumors was going on. They were uh selling because they stay up all night. They were selling like amphetamines,
Mm.
and so they could stay up and study and keep on working, keep on just like because I tell you what, the library stays open. They're so ambitious, and like you said, if it's a beautiful day, you better go uh, clear your mental health, okay? If you haven't shaved and you look like hell, oh my gosh.
Should we move on to
There you go.
PCP? Ugh.
Exit stage right. Um yeah, so we're going to talk about ethics. Oh my gosh. It's such a necessary topic. And we're going to tie into like a healthcare, okay? And so let's talk about helping people. It's such a coined phrase. You know, interview. They sit there, interview dressed up in the suits. Why do you want to be a doctor? I want to help people. Oh well, at least you're not redundant. Um, well, just the interview have heard it already. You better
Mhm.
come come up with some, because to be honest, to sum it up, I remember with Hurricane Katrina hit, and it was gut checked. I said, man, it's time to like start volunteering, and now to and then I got into the American Red Cross Disaster Action Team.
Mm.
But I tell you what, if you mess around having kids, oh boy, that's gonna slow you down. So I know I sound preachy. Sometimes I don't shut up.
Well, that's what I loved about KCUMB, and they call it KCU now, is that we had quite a few students who
Uh-huh.
were what we call non-traditional. Yeah, they had kids. They had done a different career. I think somebody on this podcast, Mr. Dr. Gabe, had done some other work, and then decided that medicine was for them. So I agree, probably not having kids early if you're not ready, but also that doesn't mean it's the end of your life as a student and a learner.
Yes. 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 So teenagers, remember, coitus interruptus does not work. So um anywho, getting into ethics. um but yeah, I think because they are so hungry to be successful. Like, what do I want to be when I grow up? They really want to take a shot. Okay, like I'll become a doctor. And good people, you better have a, plan A. If it starts to not go well, or with your student loans. Just saying. Okay, uh, I am now gonna break for this recording. Here we go. Okay, so now we're back. We're still talking about ethics, healthcare, and we kind of hit on talking about let's move on. As you can see, I'm scatterbrained, which is really kind of awesome. You're seeing me uh getting going because I've been in rehab, uh finally starting to jump in the game because I have been wanting to dispel of my wisdom what I really learned from, because now I'm able to pass on to my wisdom. When I worked in just true grit, working good people, in the mill, had a hard hat, steel toes, and then like just what did they remember? They had Joe the plumber, like like good old Joe the plumber. Um, just kind of okay. Like I really want to say, hey, community, like why am I not volunteering my service? Like I feel like you should know this. Maybe I'm justifying my podcast. Who knows?
Mhm.
Yeah. So let's talk about helping people. In fact, let's dovetail. You mentioned KCUMB. Now that is they renamed that with it, which is Kansas City University, and which we attended. Um, and I had a great experience. In fact, I got a MBNA, and which doing medical school is not easy. That was adjacent. It's called Rockhurst University. So that's why I actually applied for that. I went for that. Selected that so I could because I used to be an accountant.
Yeah, that was a
Yeah,
really
listen to
great
me. I'm
opportunity.
just like, oh, scoff, scoff. I'm so smart. I know. Look at my resume. I'm so great. I try to stay humble.
No, it
Um,
was impressive that all of you who did a dual degree during med
yeah,
school, because
that's right. Bow down. Um, so yeah, so we're talking about helping people, right? Because that really like when Katrina hit, I was just working at the desk. I started to volunteer Red Cross disaster action. I loved like going hands on. Like, hey, it's gonna be all right. Like, how can I help? Let me go perform logistics. I could go on. I probably should do I mean, I don't want to sell Red Cross do advertisement. But in fact, guys, um if you're looking to do a college, I advise you to volunteer. Check it out. It was a really good experience. I put it on my resume, and then I was able to talk about that. And next thing I know, I became they assigned me like leadership. So here I am, like managing it would like basically I would get fire. They would call me fire department. They would say, "Okay, Red Cross, we have a fire accident. Here's the address. Come, please handle it." And then I would just like go check and make sure the scene isn't safe and assess the damage if they needed clothes, you know, maybe the kids needed or wanted would like toys. Assess they would need medicines. Did and basically what can they salvage now? You start to see in poverty because that actually turns into boarded up, and I think everyone has seen boarded up windows, unfortunately. um
Mhm.
yeah, yeah, we will be talking about poverty because I did work with a lot of people. Let's dive into that. In fact, let's have you worked with poverty. Let's talk
In
about
residency,
mm,
yeah, residency clinic
uh-huh.
is a large majority of the patients are going to be on Medicaid, which by definition they have to be at some sort of level of poverty. And so I did, yeah, I saw a lot of different aspects of poverty. We did a few home visits as part of my geriatric rotation. And, my patient lived in a trailer home. And I think that was one of the first times I had been in someone's home like that. And just to see the cramped space and the just some of the things that she lived through. And it was nice though. I mean, it was warm and they kept it in good condition, but just still, you could tell that She didn't have a lot of extra money going on.
Right.
And
And,
when I moved to
and
Gardens,
not to interrupt, what you see, they keep dignity, pride.
of
Like you can
yeah,
tell, like that they're not exactly they don't have money. They will have dignity. It won't stink. It won't be dilapidated. So they strive to hold up dignity.
yeah, I think, and home visits was one of, I would say, it was almost like a holy moment because yeah, you're entering someone's space. They're letting you in their space, and they might feel all kinds of ways. They might feel like you're going to judge them, or they might be embarrassed, or they might be worried that something doesn't look as perfect as they would like. And so yeah, that was, my attendings, and just the whole experience of doing home visits was truly like a holy moment of honoring that person's space.
Right. So you said you did the residency. Um, do you want to explain for the listener what is residency when you say?
Well, you start off in college, right? And you go whatever your degree is, but you'll do pre-med, and then you'll go to medical school for 4 years.
Mm-hmm.
In the most schools, I think there are some different um, systems, but the majority of American schools, you do 2 years of classroom and group studying and lots of tests and things like that. And then you do 2 years of clinical rotations. So you're going to different clinics and hospitals and rotations, surgery, all that stuff. But you're a med student. So you're actually allowed to be a part of patient care, but you're not allowed to be the ultimate, you're not allowed to be the one signing the paper or anything like that. So then once you finish med school, in your last year of medical school, you kind of have to decide what kind of doctor you want to be as far as specialty, because you have to apply to what we call residencies. And a residency is basically a program where you learn the specialty that you decide you go into. So the minimum length is 3 years, and the maximum is some number you don't want to know. uh, there's because once you go into, if you go into subspecialties, then you kind of have to do what we call a fellowship on top of a residency. So
Right.
the years
It's
that
basically it's doing apprentice. You know, you are now apprentice. Like you
so
basically.
as a resident, yeah, you're actually a physician. You have a license. You
Hmm.
can write orders. You can write prescriptions. There's still oversight, obviously, because you need to learn, but it's really when you put your feet to the ground and do the work of learning how to be a good doctor and using all the knowledge that you've learned and putting it into practical application.
That was on point. Thank you for that. Okay. Uh, could you share with uh, this and I can't read my handwriting. You know what? I'm just gonna keep rolling on the punches. Clearly, I am unorganized, and I tell you what, it's really starting to bite me just with this rehab, and I guess I'm just gonna edit that. So we shall we shall keep on rolling that. I'm gonna take time on that. Cut that. So Raquel, uh, let's talk about PCPs. What is a PCP?
PCP stands for primary care physician. And the idea is someone that gets to know a lot about the patient. So you get to actually know the person, you get to actually know their health chronic conditions, you get to be a huge part of it is preventative care. So you get to be there to help guide them through preventative care, which would include, cancer screenings, cancer prevention, um, you know, diabetes prevention, all kinds of stuff like that. Preventing chronic diseases, and then finding potentially dangerous diseases before they're too aggressive. So that's a huge part. And it's really obviously I'm biased because I'm a PCP, but it's really an amazing position because you really get to know people. And when they come in with something that's not going right, you have this history and this rapport so that you can kind of get to the bottom of something a lot faster than if it was just someone who walked in off the street you've never met.
Right.
And another beautiful thing about family medicine specifically, which is what I do, is that you get to see actual families. So you can see mom and dad, you can see the kids, you might see an uncle or, grandma. So you kind of get a different perspective on the family dynamics, and how that plays into health. But other primary care physician roles would be pediatrician, internal medicine, like Dr. Gabe here. Uh, Most people consider OBGYN primary care, because prenatal care is so important for such a large age group of women and families. And, I like to include dentists in that list. They provide an important piece of primary and prevention, um, even though they go to a different school. So that kind of sums up kind of the main role and definition of primary care physician, or PCP.
Yeah, and your titles entail family medicine. I take it, yes.
Yes, I'm family medicine, but I also provide obstetrical care. So I do prenatal care, and I actually still deliver babies in the hospital.
Fantastic. And you do you see a lot of obesity with diabetes?
Yes, certainly obesity has been increasing more and more and more. I think the hardest people to see it in is really young children, 2-year old, 3-year old, 4-year old, 5-year old, that are just, clearly overweight. Um, and then even some kids that kind of quote unquote look normal, just how, if you just glance at them, you look at the numbers and the chart, and it actually shows pretty high on the curves of weight percentile. So it's been becoming a huge problem. Um, Not all of it leads to diabetes, but I try to teach a lot of especially the younger kids, like middle school, high school age. Obesity can affect your heart, it can affect diabetes, it can affect just your joints and back pain and knee pain because of how much extra weight your body has to carry. It can affect headaches, migraines. So there's a lot and actually it's associated with I over 13 cancers. So, even obesity, which we aren't necessarily taught to think of it like its own disease, it's associated with 13. It increases your risk of 13 different cancers. So it's pretty big.
Yeah, definitely. Um, it's a prevalent. We see a lot of, you talk about health prevention, just to catch. Um, Clearly, we want to help people, as we said, but I tell you what, I have really delved in the mind, and I don't mean to sound judgmental. I really have tried to delve in a culture, if you will. Uh, it's kind of like when you have once upon a time, you now lived in invincibility. you had this confidence of youth, and now you can just uh beat up your body. It will heal, don't worry about it. Like you know 5-second rule. No, maybe you shouldn't have uh uh eaten that. Just kind of stepping back, like exercise, like, will I get gain weight? It does start to unfortunately wear off. uh why did they stop playing sports? I wonder. um they used to play sports, or if they say, well, that was in school. um
I might chime in here, and I don't want to get political because that's not what
uh,
this podcast is, but what I've been learning on my continuing sort of
yeah, please,
quest
yeah,
quest of
I would
learning,
love, please talk to me, doctor.
I think the one of the major problems, obviously we are more sedentary than we have been in the past,
Oh my
50.
gosh, yes indeed.
That's important, but when you look at research on weight loss, exercise does very little. And so, what is really the problem, in what I've come to learn from other experts, is what we eat. And um, and the problem with that is that there's not a fair playing field. So you go to the grocery store, okay? Let's say, first of all, food deserts, let's not even go there. If you're shopping at Family Dollar for your groceries, like, you don't have fresh, carrots for option. So let's not even talk about that. Let's say you have access to a nice, good grocery store.
Yeah,
You go in,
that's
you're like, okay, what am I going to cook for my kids? I'm going to make spaghetti and red sauce, and I'm going to
right.
put onions and peppers in it, and I'm gonna make
That's
um, you know, green beans with it or something, right? Or meatballs. So, okay, you go to the aisle where there's tomato sauce and there's sugar in every single one except maybe two. You don't know that because you don't have time, and it says it's healthy, it says it's organic. Number
right.
two, you go to get the meatballs and there's only two options, or maybe three, and so you don't really have time to pick and choose, and every single one of them is filled with sugar most of the time. Then you go to get the pasta, and obviously, it's a refined grain. There's very few options for kind of like a whole grain type noodle. So you think you're cooking your kids a healthy meal, which you should be. Ideally, that would be healthy. The problem is that our food has been, what I'm going to say, is poisoned with
It really
tons of
is.
added
Yeah,
sugar.
it really is. um
And the liver takes sugar and converts it into fat. So that's the hidden secret that nobody's telling
Bingo.
anybody.
Yeah.
So you can eat fat and you don't get fat. You eat sugar and you gain weight. Your liver turns it into fat and puts it into storage, and you keep on gaining weight. But it's also addictive. So then you want more. Then you go to the cereal aisle, and what are you going to buy? Cheerios say that they're heart healthy. Honey Nut Cheerios say that they're heart healthy. You can go. I bought organic cereal for my kids with an ancient grain. I thought it was so healthy, right? Then I go to look at the ingredients at home, and the third ingredient is
Yeah.
cane sugar.
Yeah.
So it's like, even for people that are educated, it's very hard to buy food. It's
Oh yeah.
all been poisoned
Oh
with
yeah.
sugar. So I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's kind of the fight I'm on.
No,
Because
let me
people,
tell you, I'm so with you. I'm really glad that you jumped in there, Raquel. Uh, I am just applauding you. Uh, you're so right. And I am actually uh about to unravel the presentation with health food, with nutrition. you know, they really got to start eating right.
Hmm.
I, I,
But
I
even us, I mean, you can remember like our nutrition lectures were like online modules, and you just try to click through them as fast as you could. And, the stuff that they teach, even nutritionists, it really doesn't, it's very influenced by industry. And so, it's a secret. They don't want people to know that it's a legally addictive substance that's in most of the food.
well, yeah, that you're kind of getting into marketing. That's the thing, Raquel. I don't know. I'll probably get uh like pointed into. I'm very careful because I'm gonna be posting in this YouTube with this podcast. You know, they could say it's a conspiracy. Really, what you have crap food, and I hate to say this, you know, China is so packaging is so crap. You know, it's it's crap. They and I risk getting hit with the racist card. Like they just really want to uh produce sugar and keep on just it's gonna land into not to stereotype but Walmart. We're kind of delving in
Yeah,
against
this is the problem. It's not just in Walmart. It's in
yeah,
Dillon's, it's in Supers, whatever you have, and it's in Whole Foods. I mean, these foods that sell at Whole Foods, you think it's good for you because that's their whole model, but it's not. It's added sugar. It's just organic cane sugar instead of
right,
high fructose corn syrup.
right.
So that's the problem. Unless you're shopping at a farmer's market or you're growing your own food, it's very hard. You can't trust just a brand. You can't trust just a label because or a name because it's and I'm going to take the blame on America. Like I don't need there's plenty of other countries involved in, but if we weren't going to buy it and eat it, they wouldn't sell it to us. But we're consuming it and you know, there are a lot of people invested in making money off of people eating more.
Right.
And those would be American companies.
Yeah. And then
Uh,
they drink
right.
soda.
Soda would be
Oh
the
my
main one.
gosh. Sodas. That's gonna be on my lecture. That's gonna be my topic. Talk about nutrition. Just so, ladies and gentlemen, if you're listening, like, what's so good for you? All you got to do, walk in the grocery, and then it'll be facing like vegetables right there, the entrance, like fruit, and it's like all fresh groceries. Now, of course, you're trying to stock up, and then now you're just like grabbing, you got to know, be educated, carbs. That's really our fighting. So l- I am gonna uh fight you back, Raquel. I was kind of pushing exercise. I I'm not gonna give that up. So we do need to continue to educate. If people find out, they say, "Hey, I have diabetes. I don't want to get this." Because if they would look at the, grandma is just sick as death. I don't want to be like grandma, Look at there.
Hmm.
They're on dialysis. They're on diabetes. Like, no,
Hmm.
and
Yeah, absolutely.
but like say you were in school, okay? Say you like played basketball. Why did you stop playing basketball? Keep running on the court, Like keep staying the score. Well, I'm too tired. I'm just chilling. I like, no, man, that's inexcusable.
Yes, and I would never give up exercise either. But I've just found that there's so much guilt and shame around obesity,
Hmm.
that telling people to work out more is not evidence based
Yeah.
for weight loss. Okay. I'm specifically saying to lose weight, you
Hmm.
don't have to exercise, your body doesn't lose weight very much. Okay. A 1 or 2 pounds, we're not talking about the 200 pounds that people need to lose. Exercise is highly important for your bone health, for your heart health, and for your brain health, okay, to name a few. So
Yes.
exercise is extremely important for your overall health, but it really doesn't help you lose weight. So I just try, the reason I talk about it like that with patients is because there's so much pressure. And then a lot of people will use as an excuse to do nothing. So they'll say, like, my job's too busy and I have all these kids. And so I don't have any time to work up. So I'm just going to throw my hands up in the air and give up because I can't work out 3 times a week. And so that's where I come in and say, hey, working out is good for you. I want you to get there eventually, but let's talk about what you eat because that's way more important about this weight. And then if you've lost some weight because you're eating right, you'll start to feel a little better. Maybe you'll be motivated to go work out a little bit.
Very much so. Yeah. I tell you what, it's so true. It's like if you're haven't been eating well all of a sudden and then you just take it back and then you've been exercise, like, oh my gosh, it's like, why do I feel so funky?
Mm-hmm.
Really, like, if you want to just feel fine, that's what you want to kind of dive in. Man, a great topic. So for a listen our listener, uh so maybe folks that have diabetes, what do you normally tell them?
Well, I've been learning about insulin as a hormone and that eating and weight is more related to hormones
Mm-hmm.
than it is just calories. Um, and so I kind of teach them about how insulin is working against them. It's causing their body to store all the excess food that they eat that they don't really need right now. So we try to talk about um, ways of reducing your insulin. Um, and then I try to talk about, yeah, kind of all the food stuff that we talked about because it's all applicable to diabetes. And then exercise to some degree. Like I said, I usually add that on as a second piece. I am a fan. There are what appears to be pretty good data on metformin. So
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
I'm pretty, I'm pretty quick to start people on metformin that
Yeah.
have diabetes because of the studies that indicate that there's probably some longevity benefit for those patients. So I kind of do pharmacology, but I also um, teach on the lifestyle changes. And then the GLP-1 class of medications, I do think is going to revolutionize diabetes care and weight loss, but it is just kind of a matter of getting it affordable right now. So not everyone has access to that.
Yeah, a lot of folks don't like metformin because it gives you your GI upsets. Um, it can give you diarrhea. But definitely metformin. Metformin. I used to use. A lot of folks don't know about um PCOS, polycystic kidney. Uh, or excuse me, not kidney, polycystic ovarian.
Mm-hmm.
Did I say that right?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Um, and what happens? They'll start to get obese, and I've seen a lot. They'll now want to have children, and ladies if you're now have put on weight, if you start um to uh, develop a mustache, that is a indicative that you may have that, and if that is disrupting for your eggs, it's going to be uh, difficult to have children. Uh, Raquel, can you back me up? Did I say that correct?
Yes, I will insert a little public commentary
Please
like you did
do.
earlier.
Please do.
It's not birth control to have PCOS though, so it's not impossible to get pregnant. It's just when you're actually wanting to or trying to, it can be difficult, yes, because ovulation is unpredictable and yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So,
Yeah,
great.
so it's all kind of insulin resistance. It's a spectrum, I would say. I think the research needs to come into the 21st century. We need to update some stuff, but
Yeah, great discussion. We're starting to run out of time. I want to keep on nailing obesity. Let me ask you, have you seen this Wegovy? What's your opinion about this?
that's yes. So Wegovy is semaglutide, and Zepbound is tirzepatide, and they are in the class of medication I mentioned called GLP-1. I think it's called agonist. I think they're amazing, honestly. Like I said, I'm not opposed to pharmacology, and I think they're really, really amazing tools. And I'm hoping that what we can combine is kind of giving people a boost for their weight loss and their diabetes. And then while they're losing weight from this medication, they can be relearning how to cook, how to shop, how to prepare food so that when they come off those medications, hopefully they won't rebound all their weight.
Thank you for sharing that. A lot of we talked about helping people and medical students. If you're listening, uh, when you study and you do have to dive in to knowing uh, the coding, um, that does start to get real. You have to basically have to learn gaming the system, and we won't start to talk about uh, coding. Essentially, you want to see to make sure that they can afford that. You are helping people now. You are seeing uh, to make sure that they are uh, basically getting Medicaid, Medicare, but that's a whole another
We're gonna have to save that one for
yeah.
another day, Dr. Gabe. I got
Oh
kids to put to bed.
yeah. All right. Yeah. Great discussion. Thank you so much. All right. Uh, Dr. Racquel Stucky, I really thank you for your time, and um, yeah, maybe we will kind of have this uh yeah, that's it. That's a wrap. All right. May God bless y'all.
Hey, congrats on your podcast and your rehab. And I'm just super pumped to be friends with you and to be chatting with you about all these important topics.
Thank you. All right.